plan, though. They're looking strong at this point.
Well, let's get ready for Battleground number 2 as Diamond Skin takes on Team Dignitas. Diamond Skin, she's a 2-minute Spider Queen. They did the same thing last week. It seems to be one of their go-tos when it comes to a Battleground, whenever they have a loss. And we'll see what they're going to try and pull off. Last week, they had the Johanna, Hanzo, Rhaegar, and Junkrat being played with a spice of Ragnaros as well.
Ragnaros is an interesting one, since that's also something that we see oftentimes from Dignitas themselves. So that's one of the heroes that we have to watch out for this map in particular. I don't really feel we're going to see too much Ragnaros outside of maybe Infernal Shrines as well, since we can secure the objective. But it's... First game was rough. I feel Diamond Skin needs momentum here. If they can take the first objective and catapult the experience towards 10, get the second, then they have a chance here. But Dignitas just, they looked so crisp, and they exploited every tiny weakness, every misposition on the side of their opponent. Outside of that early kill that we had when Fallside was flying top and when they were able to take down Ubi on the Haka, I think it's rough for Diamond Skin. So it's really the early game where I feel they have to make a play, unless they have some kind of cheese ready that they can throw against Dignitas that Dig is not prepared for.
Well, they did experiment more so than our teams last week, pulling out the Illidan, the Ragnaros as well. But I do get a sense that after game number 1, Diamond Skin is willing to submit to the idea that they are already defeated, and that's why they bring out that experimentation.
I mean, you go up against an opponent that is hailed to be the #1 team in Europe. It's a bit too early to tell, since we're at the beginning of Phase 1 for HGC 2018, but basically every single team seems to be in agreement that Dignitas is the one to beat. So if you at any point start experimenting, I would say this is a good series to show that. Play a couple of stable games where you just see, okay, how do our strategies measure up against one of the best, and then try to see if maybe with the shift in the meta, especially since we just come off a big break, if there's maybe something where you have figured a strategy out on a certain map that your opponent can't counter yet.
Genji will be the ban here for Dignitas. Diamond Skin thinking about their ban. I feel like you have to ban the Chromie against Dignitas. Poik, deadly on that character.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for an earlier Chromie ban. I would be also worried a bit about the tanks that they have overall here. Not quite sure how much of an... It actually is interesting to me that they ban Genji, that Dignitas bans out Genji. I would have expected Diamond Skin to ban Genji out instead, and Dignitas trying to get him. At this point, the question for me is if you are that highly prioritizing on the Genji ban when you have someone like Snitch over there, if you want to play the Hanzo game again.
Let's find out. First pick up and available for Dignitas. Greymane still floating around. The Hanzo there as well. Wave Clear could be another movement that they move into and just try to make sure that they hold the Battleground itself. I believe it was last week they actually did show off the Chromie and Johanna, so we'll get a different flavor of Dignitas this time with the Chromie being banned out.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into the second week, it's pretty obvious that your opponent will have at least looked at your game, so they have a bit of an idea. You have not seen too many strategies of Team Dignitas yet, so Diamond Skin just says, well, we're going to throw a wrench into the plans that you had last week, and let's see what else you got. Malfurion now, again as an early pick. We've been talking about his heightened priority now for the teams. We've seen that in the series that Fnatic played against Team Method, but also in this one already. So Malfurion definitely rising in priority when it comes to support play after week 1, as does Uther.
Seems like Lucio. I know we're only on day 1 of week number 2, but Lucio's fallen out a little bit more the more Malfurion coming in. Being able to have the CC as well as control.
Rhaegar has fallen off quite heavily.
Yeah.
He is still involved in a lot of the drafts, but overall, considering how weak his win ratio on the first weekend was, I believe he was sitting at 35%, with being involved in 90% of the games, roughly. It's not really a surprise that teams are shying away from him a bit. So Uther is most of the time taking over the spot with Divine Shield instead of Ancestral. Rhaegar still sees plays, but other supports are really doing well, especially since Malfurion offers a lot of utility tools. The root alone is absolutely fantastic, and can just work really well with Arthas, with Murden. Any kind of lockdown into a good route allows you so much, and then Twilight Dream, of course, is brilliant.
Personally, I'm waiting until the Trick Esports series. If Rhaegar isn't picked by them, then we can confirm that Rhaegar is no longer something that people are going for, because they love their Rhaegar.
I don't think that Rhaegar is going to disappear at all, especially in Europe. I feel he's still quite strong, but we have seen an obscene amount of Rhaegar in the first weekend.
Yeah.
And I think his involvement rate is just going to drop a bit. He's still going to be a very stable hero to be played. Ancestral alone is more or less going to guarantee that, and the fact that he runs a pure cleanse. But I think we're not going to see him involved in basically every single game. So yeah, his play involvement was just crazy the first weekend. At least in Europe. I mean, North America barely looked at him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of characters that have fallen in priority, ETC has been brought back by a Diamond Skin, looking for those mosh pits. Great matchup bringing on to Mother Spider Queen, controlling chokes, as well as getting the knockbacks that you want so you can have the disengages. Now, Gul'dan picked up by Dignitas, and there he is. The new hero available this weekend. Dignitas will premiere him.
Yep, Blaze for the first time in Europe. Now, there was a previous series today where Korea used him, and he has currently 100% win ratio globally. 1 game played, 1 game won. So, of course, not really that we can tell you about
hero.
him. Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be interesting to see how Dignitas plays him here. Traditionally played as the offlaner, so not necessarily the main tank position, but we're seeing him more in that offlane situation, and that's where I would expect Dignitas to use him on the bot lane, therefore.
We'll see if he's going to do that. We did have some early rumblings when Blaze first came out between JPL and a few other Warrior mains talking about Blaze being a good, just pure disengage tank if someone is engaging into, being able to control that front line. But yeah, very doubtful that we'll only see him as a main tank.
Yeah, one of his main assets is that he has very good wave clear, and that normally puts you immediately into the position that you are an off tank.
Yeah.
Wave clear heroes as solo laners, the off tank normally takes that position. We see that with Dehaka, we see it with Leoric, we see it also with Sonya, which is a little bit of a in a league of her own, but still, Blaze fills that position quite nicely. And Diamond Skin will have to show their own skills against the new hero now.
Curious to see if they may want to float into a Tychus pick, maybe. Really good against Blaze. Blaze actually has a very high health pool. I believe he's top 3 when it comes to actual health pools when looking at Chin and others. Blaze also doesn't have any armor reduction or spell shield armor right away built into like a lot of heroes. So Blaze can be someone that Tychus can burn down right away. That's why you see that Malthael ban. If you have a Malthael against a Blaze, count your lucky stars that if you live in a team fight, as he gets burned down quite quickly. So I'm wondering if Diamond Skin might move into that.
We said it before we started into our first series of the day. Tychus, before today, wasn't played at all in Europe. We had only 1 game with him so far, and that was actually a victory. That was on Tomb of the Spider Queen when our previous series Method played him. But before that, it was only North America and Korea that played Tychus, and with pretty decent results. He was played 23 times and had a 65% win ratio on North America and Korea combined. So currently, Europe not really convinced yet that Tychus is the answer now, but as I said before, with us moving from a solo support, from a double support into a solo support meta, where we have more often double frontline tanks with, for example, the Arthas and Muradin composition, it's more likely that Tychus is rising in priority, because with the bigger they are and your minigun, you can just like burn down the hit point pool pretty quickly.
Yeah, make the tank think twice before moving into a fight. 4th and 5th coming in here for Dignitas, looking for a little bit more damage and a main tank, presumably. Main tank potential available for JPL.
ETC, Muradin, Stitches.
Stitches, do you think we're
ETC already taken away. Fair.
Muradin again.
Muradin is his go-to, but I could have seen Stitches here too. With Malfurion already in the mix, I could have seen them go for him.
I miss JPL Stitches though. I just want it back selfishly. One of my favorites to look into. The follow-up into the root was there. You have the damage from Gul'dan, maybe even Horrify if you get a follow-up. But alas, not on this day.
I like the wave clear on their part. Gul'dan, Blaze, and Junkrat now with this.
Control
and also, yeah, not only that, they also control the 2 turning points incredibly well with Malfurion and Junkrat poke. And even Gul'dan can throw the Echo Corruption in. Of course, from a cooldown perspective, he's not quite on the same level as Malfurion and Junkrat here, but that's a lot of interrupts that they have against turn-ins. And if they start to walk away with a lead in this game, then it's going to be a quick one.
And Diamond Skin looking for their final pickup. It's going to be the Leoric coming in. Repeated on this map pretty often. We know the strengths of a Leo, but I think I actually really like what Dig has. The more I look at it, the main question is how will Blaze do? Drain Help, obviously, against Blaze should be effective, but will it be effective enough?
I don't think so, because he can simply use Jet Propulsion to get away from it. So he can use that cooldown to simply disengage. So doesn't necessarily make sure that he outright takes this lane down, but it should make sure that Leoric cannot do too much with just the Drain Hope itself. And overall, the setup that they are running here, I like it a lot. So Junkrat is always very interesting, is very chaotic, but from the control perspective of the objective and also what they can bring to the table in terms of wave clear alone, which is insanely important on Tomb, I really like Dignitas' setup here.
There is Hanzo Hero into a forced fight, ETC, Power Slide, Mosh Pit. So we do have some big engagement abilities available for Diamond Skin. But after the performance in game number 1, I'm really doubting they can hold a candle here against Dignitas. Dignitas is just on another level, and it's hard to say. It's
going to be rough. Also, since with ETC, when I look at him, I'm currently asking myself what's going to be the heroic ability. And if you go into Mosh Pit here, there's so many interrupts that Dignitas is already stacking, which is going to make it extremely difficult to get good value out of it. There will always be a stun available, so you need to either hit that monster Mosh Pit that hits 4 people, or it's going to be very rough. And on Pro Play in particular, most players don't really even look for these massive 5-man, 4-man Mosh Pits. It's absolutely okay if you drop your cooldown just to get 1 kill.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure if they can pull that off here. But I agree. The main thing that I'm watching for now is, first of all, Blaze, and then to see if in the early game Diamond Skin can do something here to get a bit of a lead, to get a bit of momentum, because they really need it.
Well, it's time to get lit here as Dignitas and Diamond Skin face off on the left side in the blue. Snitch playing Junkrat, Zelia playing Malfurion, Poik on Gul'dan, JPL playing Muradin, and Wubby is going to show off Blaze.
And to the right side of the map, we have their opponent, Diamond Skin with Wolfjaw on Rhaegar, Nanda on Leoric, Dark Mok playing Greymane, Rossmane on Hanzo, and Robodoba on ETC.
So, the engage for Diamond Skin on the early side can net them some kills if ETC can find the target. Junkrat and Poik gonna be their favorites to go after, but it will be difficult with JPL sitting in that front line, being the Muradin and being annoying. Let's watch Wubby and see what he pulls off here with the Blaze. Big knockback into an engage. Jet Propulsion finding Robodoba, and Dignitas gets the first kill of the game.
Yeah, great play by Junkrat in particular. That setup there was fantastic. Very well done. Using the displacement to get the early game kill against ETC. When we're talking about this game, of course, we are going to keep an eye on Blaze and also the build that is being used here. For now, on level 1, it's Neural Stim Pack, so it's all about the ability cooldowns that recharge a bit faster. You also gain a bit of extra mana. But this is the interesting thing about Blaze, especially as level 1 is very flexible, where you can adapt to the situation. Now, I've been watching a lot of the scrims this week to get a bit of an idea what the teams play when it comes to Blaze in terms of his build. And this is the talent where we see the most diversity, where depending on what kind of setup you go up against, you will see, for example, the shield being taken, but it's pretty, or even the movement speed. So it's a pretty flexible talent on level 1, and you can always adapt to the map and to the composition that you are facing.
For instance, I love the attack speed and movement speed on Breakfast Holdout. On the top side, you can win a trade hardcore to be able to pop that in there. A lot of trade-offs there at that level 1, but so far, Diamond Skin not winning the trade-offs. So they keep getting in engages and are losing desperately in the fights. 2 kills already, almost a third with the Rhaegar on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's what we mentioned earlier. They need to win this early game. At least I think they have to. I believe that with Dignitas and the setup that they run, if they get ahead in the early game, it would be absolutely devastating for them. Jet Propulsion once again, and Wubby starting to really destroy Diamond Skin here. So that was a great attack by them. The camp still taken by Diamond Skin, which is of course an edge for them, but it just feels that when wherever they turn, we're only 2 minutes into the game, but it feels wherever Diamond Skin turns, there's an immediate aggressive move against them.
Dignitas just chasing them down, willing to fight, wanting to fight.
Adhesive Petroleum on level 4 for Blaze. Pretty much the standard that we've seen so far, so that you get the extra slow here. And that works really well in team fights too, as you can imagine. So already, we're having in the mid lane here, this time actually Diamond Skin trying to see if they can maybe net a kill.
Have you seen Meltdown out before picked up at all?
No, not too much.
I'm interested to see if that will become a thing. I think the main issue with it is it's actually a good usage, but the problem is your trait is just way too long and too hard to pull up once again. But I'm wondering if that will become a thing if it ever gets a buff in the future, because it's a cool idea, having Blaze stick to a target and reduce their damage.
Yeah, I feel like the most that we've seen so far is a bit of a focus into just into the oil spills in general. The level 7 shows a bit more flexibility where the auto, like, Grill and kill can be absolutely insane. If you have maps that are focused on certain areas for the objective, then I think going for the quest talent on 7 has its appeal. What I've seen a lot and what I personally think is really cool if you have him as the offlaner is just the Incinerator Gauntlets. So that AoE overall is pretty fantastic. And of course it helps you with the igniting the oil spills too. So that's usually like the setup or the base that most are playing around. But I think his talent diversity is actually very, very cool.
Well, we'll keep an eye on those talents and continue to update at home as Blaze has been using his oil spill to slow down the movement from Diamond Skin. An immediate turn-in from Dignitas, a very early one before 4 minutes, allowing for blue web weavers to push in all lanes. Nande might be in trouble too, and Wubby comes in from the side. I mean, charges down the target.
Look at that. Look at how they are stacking this stuff. They are getting Storm Bolts in, the Jet Propulsion for the added stun. Malfurion puts the roots down. Junkrat is immediately pushing the target better with the Concussive. This is just insanely, like an insane CC control against the single target if they at some point find it on the map. And that's exactly what Leoric just ran into. So very difficult to deal with it. Level 7 comes in, and we have Grill and Kill taken for Dignitas. So at this point, it's all about the quest talent. For will be very heavy focus into the oil spill, as we said before.
Another find here in the middle as Robodobo gets chunked down by 80% of his health. Blaze is pushing on the bottom, dealing with Dark Mob, with a 4 in the middle seems to be the main point that Dignitas wants to grab and get it down to underneath half health. With Diamond Skin rotating in, they're hoping to defend. Nande, unlucky, runs into a big fight and gets picked. Wolfshow almost gets landed with a root while Robodoba is thrown over the wall. I mean,
Poig at this point has really the easiest game of his life. He's just sitting there and just waits for someone to drop a CC on the opponent, and then he goes in with his corruption, and he does so much work. I mean, here's the same thing again. The stun comes in, Poig waits and holds his skills back until the stun isolates the target, gets the full duration in, and boom, there's the damage. They have taken the first fort already, and just after the first turn-in, they are 5-0 in kills, and they're 2 levels ahead. Dignitas, it is insane how much they are controlling the flow of the game now.
Diamond Skin seems to have a very normal skin right now as they are getting peeled here by Team Dignitas. The next fort on the bottom already picked off. That's going to be level 10. Dignitas has earned a 3-level lead. It's now 2 because the Spirit just came in, but a 3-level lead over their opponents in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah. Their wave, again, it's the wave clear and it's also the stack of CC that we have. Combustion now for Blaze taken. But again, Hammer. Stormbolt quickly being used, immediately the root down, Jet Propulsion, locking it further down. And behind all of this, we're just seeing Gul'dan sit and Poig says like, well, have a full corruption, there you go. And that damage is just crazy. Poig is doing work here. And they are chasing the next target, and there's a root again. Locking them down, Nande might, nope, he goes down, gets taken down here as well. It's just rough work at this point.
They're trying to slow down some of the turn-ins that were happening, but Nande just keep an eye on the targets. At this point, and just go for trait value, see if you can find 3 to 4 people on that Leo, and then get stuff on the map elsewhere. And Wolfjoe is doing just that, grabbing the Giants on the bottom side, while Darkmock on the Gray Man is working his best impression here on the side as a wave clear hero, as he's kind of just freezing this lane and soaking what he can.
We have a 2-level lead, 2 forts down, and that is 6-7 minutes into the game. And Diamond Skin is still half a level away from 10. So it is full on control for Dignitas. They can turn in whenever they want. They have the gems, and then they can push with it. And right now, Diamond Skin is just holding on for dear life, waiting until they get level 10 abilities.
Yeah, and voice comms right now also saying is there is a chance. Come on, guys. Get 10.
Don't die. Stay safe. Don't give them a kill. Just yield the ground until we have the experience, and then we need to make our play. But this is now a Web Weaver wave that is going to push through together with a Night Camp Aura.
Deadly. 10 does hit for Diamond Skin. There is a full level here before Dignitas hits 13. So in theory, Diamond Skin is on the same talent level as their opponent. Just happen to deal with multiple pushes coming towards their face.
And their wave clear is not that great over here. So in the mid lane, they really have a problem clearing this out properly. They're currently trying to do that, but the aura is still active, and that allows them to push forward. They're taking the Knight out, or they're trying to, but they don't get the last hit in. JP also stacks on top of the Knight quite a bit, which makes it a bit harder to target it. So it's nearly level 13 now for Dignitas, and it's 8 minutes into the game, and they're already putting some damage onto the keep itself.
Even go for the possible Moonwell, ETC will be engaged upon. Looks like a cleanse came out there, so Wolf Joe able to keep him alive, but that means that the cleanse is down. Junkrat dropping the tire here, doing a little bit of a dance right in front of the keep, just zoning so Poi can move forward and work on the keep.
Yeah, there comes an Entomb. That does do very little. And now we have Snitch going in. Finally, the tire is down. But the keep is also falling hit points. It's down to 30% HP at this point.
Look at the top side, too. And there's an entire Web Weaver pushing in with the minion wave. Can start breaking down on the keep wall. Diamond Skin is against the ropes. And they may just have to sacrifice this to go defend top lane. And they finally decide to do so. They put Leoric on the top lane. And if they lose the middle keep, hey, that's what they get for having a poor early game.
Greymane is sitting with a bit of a trap position at the back and is looking for an engage. He's waiting for someone to engage so he can come in and jump the back line. So he's trying to do that. The problem is the keep is about to fall, and they're going to take this easily with Greymane. Darkmork does not engage, just puts a bit of damage in with a cocktail. The 13 talent already discouraging Diamond Skin. And Dignitas with Blaze, so again, the heavy focus into the oil spill from Wooby. On level 4, we have the Adhesive Petroleum, we have Grilling Kill on level 7. He's not quite completed the quest talent yet, but on 13 he continues that focus onto the oil spill, and we're seeing him now with the nanomachine coating. So not only reducing the movement speed, but also the auto attack speed, which is a pretty amazing tool if you have a Greymane against yourself.
40% for 2.5 seconds is that attack speed reduction. Hang on, big engage on the bottom side. Poik is the target. Can he stay alive? 4-5 popped out. Greymane getting low. Is going to be able to chunk on back. The damage coming in from Wubby, but not enough to secure the kill. But they do stop the engage on Greymane.
Oh, and there's the first kill and the second. A counter kill against Gul'dan, but they are getting the hits in, and Wolfjaw is attempting to run away, but Snitch is not allowing that, not taking any prisoners here. They're taking Rosmek down too, and that's a quad kill, and that is an insane amount of gems lost. At this point, Diamond Skin is down to 12 gems that they hold on under. 3 levels behind. 10 kills against 1.
Stop piling it on me, Caldor. I can't find a solution.
By the way, did you see how insane the timing was of the Horrify?
It was a pretty
ETC's mosh pit was not interrupted, it was cancelled by it. So basically the mosh pit was never active, but it reset onto the entire cooldown because the timing of Gul'dan's Horrify was so perfect that as ETC just got the first 0.1 second of mosh pit in, the Horrify hits, and on the back of that they could get the kills. Mosh pit gets interrupted.
And that hurts too, because if you get the 10-second cooldown, the moment you spawn, okay, we gotta fight right now before Horrify's back up. But now they don't even have that option. Horrify will be here first.
It couldn't be worse.
It couldn't be worse. Diamond Skin. Gonna have to show us a miracle to come back in this game.
Yeah, and now Dignitas. I mean, Dignitas has the luxury. If you're a shot caller for Dignitas right now, the only problem that you have is that there are so many cool things you can do, you don't know what to do first. And in this case, they go for boss. They can also work on a turn-in. They are only a few gems shy of getting another turn-in in. So they could literally just take one wave and then get the turn-in and push with turn-in plus boss. 3-level lead. They are just jumping in right now. If JPL hits a Storm Bolt, then there's immediately going to be a follow-up. So they push through the top lane with the boss. They already eliminated the keep in the mid lane. Diamond Skin, they will be forced to fight a fight where they are talent down. They can't give everything up. So they have to, at some point, pick a bad fight and go in. But there's the Horrify. They try to get the kill. Greymane is down. Here comes the Reptile. We see them pushing them back even further. And Whoopi on Blaze just goes absolute bonkers deep into the backline. ETC falls. Leoric is on the run. Wrong direction for him. Riptire comes in and Snitch just pushes him away. The keep is going to fall here, and this looks more and more as if Dignitas is going to claim victory in game number 2 now.
Dignitas has decided that the core is the call. They push in here at 12 minutes and 30 seconds looking for a win. Nane comes back after Hearthstoning. Can he help defend this? It's not look like it as the core continues to fall. Down to 40, down to 30, down to 20. Healthy members of Dignitas, and they go up with a 2-0 over Diamond Skin.
Looking strong.
Yep.
Had a great draft. They played with the wave play they had. They had a 2-level lead after the first turn-in. Had the early level 10. Didn't even care about the second turn-in right away. Just jumped behind the forts, took the structures down, and Diamond Skin was pressed up against the wall and couldn't escape. They took the beating and were hoping for a moment where they can turn it around, but it was never there. Dignitas never made a big mistake that would allow them to go back into the game.
Yeah, Dignitas is playing incredibly well. The only thing I wish I could have seen for them is maybe they let Harrison Jones go out of the map a little bit, you know? That's about the only thing I felt like they were missing out on when it comes to that battleground.
Inexcusable.
Inexcusable. Definitely going to give you a fine. Well, let's get ready here for game number 3. We'll be right back here with the HGC. If we can see Diamond Skin can get a comeback here against Dignitas.